capes, and conundrums. "So, any idea how she got herself in that situation?" Moretta asks Robin as she hangs on his back with her reinforced toe shoes gripping onto his belt. They are watching as a trinity of drill sergeants are smoking a Sonia recruit by having her lay on the ground as they all screamed at her. "You go to sleep right now, soldier! Rest your poor tired soul. That's an order! I'm not hearing any snoring from you, soldier. Saw those logs!" More than likely, she yawned at the worst time, probably while getting yelled at by the DI. Robin notes and Moretta lets out a short cackle. That was experience talking, wasn't it? Technically, I wasn't the one on the ground, but I got smoked for laughing. I had to sing a lullaby to help my fellow soldier sleep. He admits, and she laughs. He waits until she gets control of herself before finishing. They kept making me do it again louder and louder until I was screaming "Rock-a-bye baby" at the top of my lungs. There's a brief moment of excitement as Moretta laughs so hard she outright loses her grip, and he makes a mad scramble to catch her before she conks her head on the concrete. Holographic room with safety features or not, hitting your head on the floor hurts. She grabs his belt and reorients herself to stand on the ground, upright. "Nice catch." "Thank you," he says, and she gives him a beaming smile. "So do you have any other hilarious stories to tell me?" Moretta asks, stretching out the word a bit. "I just gave you one. It's your turn?" "Oh, it's goofy story time? Okay then. I had a phase as a graffiti artist, but I've always been a mechanic. So of course I tried to combine my newest love with my longest passion. I can't help but notice that most gobs like mechanical things. It's like humans and crazy, it just fits. Buzzing." Robin concedes the victory with that one. "By the way, where's the big guy? What's his name? Santiago, and he was persuaded to put on the Bane mask, whereupon his 3 dates, well... This is not what I expected when you all asked me for another date," Santiago says as he swings slightly. The scene is right out of a strange Elseworlds comic book. He has the Bane mask on and a vest with cargo pants and combat boots. He's also wrapped up in literal chains that are tied around a rafter with all 3 girls in different style Batman outfits prowling around him. He's not sure if this is some kind of really weird role play, a joke that's going way too far, or something else. Although I will give you full credit for tying me up and teleporting me here this quickly, but if I don't get an answer as to what is actually going on, fairly soon I'm going to actually resist, and things are going to start breaking. "Oh, well?" Ambush Knight says in her Batman Beyond outfit. "We'd like to go steady. Will you be the Bane to our Batman?" Shadowflight asks, and Santiago just blinks. This is either the weirdest proposition I've ever gotten, or you're downright fucking with me. What? Bane is a villain trying to murder the Batman, Santiago states. Fine then, Darkscream says, pushing Shadowflight to the side a little. We want to take this up a level, and we want to have fun doing it. The emphasis is fun above all else. I know for a fact that those chains are only holding you because you're more amused and curious than actually restrained. You're as much in control here as we are. True, Santiago says as he squeezes a chain link so hard it cracks. The chain is easily broken, and he starts to fall before he grabs onto the chain with his other arm and stops himself from falling. He then slips out of the mess and lowers himself to the floor slowly with one arm. So what were you actually trying to say when you asked me to be the Bane to your Batman? Can you manhandle us while wearing a mask and pretending to be dangerous? That would be incredibly hot. Ambush Knight says blankly, and Santiago chuckles. Oh my God, it's like a girl asking to be choked. Santiago mutters under his breath. Okay, and why the spontaneous kidnapping and cosplay? Spur of the moment, seeing how you'd react, general comedy, seeing if these two will actually do it. Take your pick. Darkscream says, and Santiago snorts in amusement. You said it was a good idea? Ambush Knight protests. I lied! Darkscream says shamelessly. Oh my goodness, Shadowflight says to herself, as she buries her face in her hands. Santiago can't help but chuckle a bit. How about we all meet up in, say, an hour after we all get something more reasonable on and talk things through? Also Darkscream, while funny, not cool. Bad bat, bad bad bat. Yes, wave your finger more. Discipline this bad bat, Darkscream says in a tone full of restrained laughter. Oh my God, woman! Santiago's voice is full of amusement. Anyways, back here and in an hour, all right? An hour later, they had all returned. Santiago had only changed things up by ditching the Bane mask and putting on a turtleneck under the vest and rolling up the sleeves. So what's really going on? Well, Ambush Night begins. She'd come in a dark red outfit. Most Sonir clothing was designed to not flap in the wind, stay close to the body, and not get in the way of flying. So it kind of resembled a leotard. Couple it with leggings, and the occasional bit of frills near the feet and small but brightly colored earrings to both draw attention and not catch on anything, making her general look both streamlined and striking, like a bejeweled dancer. Her brown hair reached mid-back and generally was well-styled and contrasts well with her darker brown fur and night black wing leather. Shadowflight was wearing more traditional clothing that, while not hanging loose, was far looser than the nearly skin-tight outfit of Ambush Night. She had gone without jewelry, and with her hair in a long blonde braid that almost went down to her ankles and had to be wrapped around her torso so it wouldn't drag. It was often tucked away under clothing. She seemed to be dressed more for comfort. That the vest she was wearing was reminiscent of a sweater and her pants resembled jeans certainly helped with the look. She was a brighter brown than Ambush Night, but all Sonir on Skathak had the same night black wing leather. Darkscream was clad in a shorter vest that left her stomach partially exposed and short shorts. The thick belt with metal studs wasn't needed for how tight the shorts were. For jewelry, she favored anklets and toe rings. Her dark brown hair was streaked with dyed lines of pink that went down to her rear, and with her pale brown fur, she was almost Ambush Knight's opposite. All in all, she looked like a punk rock fan. Dates are one thing, fun is another, and just being with people is a third. So how do we get that without it being weird? Darkscream asks. Oh, so you just want to hang out? Strange term for it, but yes, Shadowflight says. Sure, that's no problem. It's just, I've never seen you three in what you consider casual wear before. Oh, you like it? Darkscream asks, standing up straight and flexing to show off that yes, she very much has the galactic profile best described as gorgeous. I may not be American, but I plead the fifth. The right to not incriminate yourself? Shadowflight asks after a moment looking it up. Yes. Denied. Let me have it, Darkscream announces, as she tosses her hair backward like she's trying to pose for a commercial. Remove the wings and shift the legs to a more human configuration and she'd easily be a model for any number of ads. No, Santiago says after a moment, but with a big smile to let them know he's teasing. Oh, come on, please, Darkscream asks, quickly, shifting her stance and walking over in a saunter. Sonir generally do not walk on two legs. They can, but it's nowhere near as comfortable as walking on their knuckles. The proportion of their legs makes nearly a full third of the length more like a human foot. Fully stretched out, it was longer than a human leg, but it was most comfortable in a crouching position, hence the universal knuckle walk when not flying or hanging upside down. Santiago leans back a little as she leans forward at him, and he can't help but chuckle a little as she leans close. She's smiling as well, though, and she takes a deep sniff. Oh, you're just a great big ball of temptation and teasing, aren't you, big man? It's not like I can help it. I'm simply being who and what I am. It's you that's decided to like it. Oh, that's not how this works, and you know it, she answers with a smile. Still, she leans even more forward, and Santiago shows off his balance by keeping the distance even when it gets to the point she's effectively laying on top of him, but neither is touching the other. We can have fun and pretend it is. Santiago doesn't verbally respond, but the raised eyebrow and smirk is response enough. Darkscream looks from side to side as Ambush Knight and Shadowflight lean in from opposite sides, and Santiago can't help but let out a little chuckle that causes him to lose balance and fall onto his back. Unfortunately for everyone, his slipping foot catches Darkscream's, and her precarious balance is completely shot by this, and she reflexively grabs the also precariously balanced Shadowflight and Ambush Knight, and all three land on Santiago, who laughs as he breaks the falls of all three women. The tension is completely shattered, and soon enough Santiago is only one of 4 people laughing. At roughly that same time, far, far away, Albin was still not entirely happy with things. The loss of Beaky really hurt a lot still, but his family had already hired another family counselor to help things through. And they were still going through Dr. Malais's advice. He's perfectly invisible. The light bending around him is offering no hint to his presence in his stillness, in his patience. The Thoroso wing nest here was far, far too close to a local spaceport, and were starting to go after the drones zipping around the city. The family had taken it as providence that such an opportunity was available, and Albin was just waiting. Waiting for the Thoroso male to finally get away from the nest. They were fiercely protective of their clutches, and there was always one parent at the nest at any time with the adults taking turns to go eat. However, the thrown stick isn't actually a weapon, just a relatively straight piece of lumber hurled like a spear. It still hits the Thoroso wing, a glancing blow on the top of its crest, and it staggers for a bit before looking around. Albin actually smiles as he hears Vucira give off a mocking call to the beast. No words, just noise, but the Thoroso wing is clearly furious and looking around. Then a rock, more a pebble, strikes it in the beak, and it lets out a furious screech as it takes off. Moments after it clears the nest, and neither Albin nor the eggs are anywhere near, behind the creature a much, much more deadly weapon is hurled from the forest canopy and spears the beast through the chest. It falls hard and lands with a thump. Albin is already moving to uncover the eggs and shift them into the ready pouch. He then pauses and allows his cloaking to fade. Thoraso wings usually have a clutch of 1 or 2 eggs. The chicks are technically capable of self-sustenance fairly quickly and are booted from the nest in a hurry. Beaky had been technically old enough to survive on his own, and should have been a migratory phase where he goes from cliffside to cliffside looking for good hunting grounds. Which is why Thoraso numbers quickly shoot up. Once a mating pair find an area, they can have dozens of descendants within 5 years. And with the migration patterns, new blood comes in and the breeding expands even faster as more mated pairs are made. But it's very, very rare for 3 eggs to be laid at once. Thankfully, I brought more bags, he says to himself as he quickly sets things up. As he's shifting things around, a visual distortion shifts upwards on the opposite side of the nest. He looks up and offers a smile as Vucira decloaks. 3 of them? 3 of them, he says. Think you can handle that? She asks, and he chuckles as he thinks back on a recent call he made. I think that I welcome the challenge. I will be undaunted by it. You do know that they don't currently have an outpost on this world, right? Currently, he says, and she smiles. 3 eggs, though, that's a bit of an ask. I'll help skin the adults if you support me on this, Albin offers, remembering several conversations about meeting halfway rather than fighting every step. Deal. Wait, do you even know how to skin a prize? No idea. You can claim credit on talking me into learning. Deal, Vucira says as she takes 2 of the filled egg satchels and secures them on herself. Remember to plan your route down when cliff climbing. I know, he says, and follows, as they leave the empty nest behind. The family will eat well tonight, grow closer and also grow larger.